Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Just coming by to see how everybody's doing. I don't know why I'm not able to see the comments. How weird. I can't see anybody's commenting. That's just so weird. I have no idea what's going on. But anyways, I hope everybody's having a lovely day. Oh, hello. They must have changed it. Or no, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. Anyways, good morning. Hi, Kate. How are you today? I don't know. I'm just like looking at this. It looks kind of weird. But anyways, maybe it's just me. It's another lovely day here in San Diego. Of course, it's probably going to be super duper hot. Probably, yeah. I can tell the sun is lovely and it's beautiful and it's outside. So today I'm just going to do a little, I don't know, I guess what I normally do. Just kind of checking in on people, see what people are doing, how life is treating everybody, and what's the latest and greatest going on in people's lives. Kate, how's the weather where you live? I know it's like probably like in the wee hours of the morning where you are, Miss Kate. Mm-mm-mm. Probably in the wee hours. I don't know why. I've just been really cold lately. I don't know what's going on with that, but Keith was making fun of me because he's like, "Why are you always cold? It's like hot outside." I don't know. Maybe there's something going on. Something going on. Yeah, it is cold. Hello, Miss Lorraine. Good morning, Miss Lisa. Yeah, I don't know why. Even though the sun is out, it's still weird. This weather. This weird. My little. It's got like a little lid. I don't even know what the scent is in there, but it smells lovely. Quite lovely. It's like got like a mixed lid. Anyways, yeah, I'm doing good. I just staying busy. You know, the usual. Today's like the first day of May. Isn't today May 1st, Keith? That he's like got his headphones on. He doesn't care about my life. So, anyways, yeah. I mean, here we are, a new month. This year's almost over. Can you believe that this year is almost over? It's so disturbing. Keith, he doesn't care. So, anyways, I just wanted to check in with you guys and see how you guys are doing. Um, I know we have some upcoming changes again on Psychic Fixes. We've been doing some, what do you call it? Adding new people. Debbie's got some new people coming on and stuff like that. We just got some. I know, right? We were just talking about that because he was saying something like Keith was saying something like it's May Day or something. So I think it's the 1st of May. I don't know. I know he's like, I'm just going to put my headphones on while you're doing your show. Dad, Keith, nothing. He's like, I don't care about your life. So, anyways, like I was saying, yeah, we got some new stuff coming on the show. Debbie's got some magic up her sleeve. So, other than that, yeah, I know that there's going to be some changes going, some people coming in, you know, doing some cool stuff. We have Gigi who's doing the which I haven't been able to catch one of her shows. She's doing the numerology and astrology. Oh my God, that stuff is so cool. Hi, Carlos. Good morning. So we have a lot of good stuff going on. Anyways, so a few weeks ago, I don't know if those of you know that I do attend a coven. I have a really good friend of mine who is the high priestess, and you know, yeah. So I do attend a coven when I do have time locally here in the area. And she's been trying to get me to do a show with her. I don't know, it's maybe for like a couple of weeks now. So I did the show with her a couple of weeks ago. and she did post them on Facebook. So it was pretty cool. It was a really lovely experience. So I did another show, a couple of episodes with her. We filmed in one day, and it was super, super cute. And it was really good. It was really good. We had a good time. She's always very loving, very welcoming, and stuff like that. So I just get this sense, this feeling that a lot of people are going to start doing things like answering the call, I guess you could say, answering the call, meaning doing things that normally, I mean, I love doing shows. This is like my go-to. I love doing the shows. I love reaching out to people, but reaching out to a much wider audience, a much broader audience, something where maybe, because I mean, our audience here is absolutely lovely, but it's reaching out to another type of audience that is somebody like that's kind of like out of my comfort zone, like for like a whole other kind of viewer, type of viewer, right? So I did a reading for a lady this morning who I was who she saw me when I did the video with my friend Taryn from the Witch's Cottage. So it was super cool. So anyways, I think a lot of us coming in June, this upcoming months, this summer up until September, we're going to find ways of where we're stretching and we're renewing ourselves, meaning like stretch, getting back to ourselves, and we're able to reach out into those things that we're not normally find ourselves doing, like really stepping out of our comfort zone, I should say. So I think it's a good thing. I think that there's some people that are probably going to be taking some trips, some people saving some money, doing things that are normally we wouldn't do, because I think the lesson that we've learned from this past year is that everything slowed down and then came to a complete stop. The whole world did. Everything was halted. We lost our freedom. We lost our way of doing things. I mean, we had to totally, from work to family to school to, our education of our minds, children. Many of those things were halted. If you would have told me 20 years ago, if myself now would have traveled back in time and told myself when I was 18 years old, I would say, get out of here. Would you have believed that 2020 would have happened back then? If you were to travel back in time and tell yourself 2020 was a shit show, would you have believed yourself? Or anybody for that matter coming back and telling you, hey, guess what? 2020 is going to happen. Nobody would have been able to accept it or to think, hey, you know what? Dude, I need to be prepared. You know what I mean? Would you get your ducks in a row back then? Or would you be like, yeah, this person's talking trash? If we knew ahead of time, years and years before, that kind of thing. My dad has that mentality. Good morning, Julie. My dad has that mentality. Always for a rainy day. My dad's always been saving for a rainy day. Every day he's expecting a rainy day. The rain comes, he's comfortable. The rain goes, he's still comfortable. The lessons we learn from the older folks in our lives, whether the family or not, but the older ways, the baby boomers or whatever they call them, some were prepared and some weren't. Some are feeling the sting and others aren't. Yeah, a little here and there. Yeah, absolutely. But those that are feeling it much, much tougher, much harder, the sting, it stays. That remnants of that ouch, like that sting where some people, okay, yeah, it's a little puffy and then it goes away. But the memory of when you touch it again, accidentally you touch yourself and it still stays there. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. I remember 2020. That sting. So when we step out of that sting coming this summer, what are you going to do differently than you did in 2019? Are you going to take life so serious? Are you going to follow your bliss, your adventures? Are you going to change your lifestyle to become healthier, to love yourself more, to be able to find the guidance within yourself, to find the answers within yourself, to love yourself more? Or are you going to be able to, take that step outside of that fear and take that job you've always wanted, buy that dress, eat that piece of cake? Or are you going to allow people to decide for you what your life is going to be? Not able to step in your own power. I think sometimes when we make those decisions, we come back to ourselves. Oh God, these flipping people, so disgusting. Anyways, when we step into our power, we become these people that are so, we know ourselves. Do we know ourselves? Do you truly know yourself? Having to go back within this whole past year, having to be home, to go within. When we finally come out of our homes or our cocoons, or when we come out of whatever we found ourselves in 2020, what have we learned? What have we accepted? What brought us strength? What weaknesses did we overcome? What have we forgiven? Who have we forgiven? Have we forgiven ourselves? Have we moved forward in more than one way in our lives, meaning old relationships that just, did we let them go? People that hurt us, do we allow them to step away? Are we less clinging to those that don't want to be held on to? I envision myself sometimes in a river. I did a method this morning. I did a journey with a young lady, with a lady, a new friend of mine. And I held her in the vision. I held her hand in the meditation. We both held hands together as we stood in the water. And my promise to her was to release the things that no longer served me. Yes, there's always something to release. The resentments of yesterday, the thoughts of certain things will people cross our mind, be like, they still trigger us. As we both stood there together in the meditation, hand in hand, the water, the river we stood in, we allowed Mother Earth to help us to release those energies that don't suit our best and highest good. We allowed Mother Earth to come in and replenish our spirits, to bring us the nurture, the nourishment, the nurturing that we needed, that only Mother Earth can provide for us. Though the water got a little rough when we got to our waist, we stood strong together, and we allowed those things to be pulled from us. She allowed those things to be washed away from deep within her spirit, her heart, the things that no longer could hold her back, the things that had tormented her for so long. The inner child came through. And she was so grateful for just someone to hold her hand. In the vision, she stood strong. And at the end of the meditation, she began to glow. She was glowing. Towards the middle, you could see her shoulders would release. There was no stiffness in her neck. And it's not that her body went limp. She just learned to relax, to find herself again. She was able to be okay within her own skin. Through her struggles and through the things she has seen and had to endure, she was able to stand strong in her power again. Now, yeah, it's going to take time. As we all realize, it's going to take time. But when we taste that power of self-love, of self-acceptance, knowing that what the things that have happened to us in our lifetime, in this lifetime, it's not our fault. There are certain things in our lives we cannot control. But how we carry them, how we remove them from our existence, that's what we have control over. Do we allow it to carry us and weigh us down? Or do we allow it to come into our minds, acknowledge it? We cannot change what's happened. We don't even have to accept it. But by acknowledging it and saying to ourselves, we no longer allow it to hold power over us. No longer will these thoughts or of these actions torment my day-to-day, my day-to-day living or my day-to-day everyday thoughts. We ask that they be removed from us. They no longer carry any way, shape, or form, any burden, because it's not our burden to carry. We all have demons. We all have things in our lives that we want to either forget about or we want to leave behind. The moment we say to ourselves, I stand in my power, I acknowledge my life and the things that have happened or the things that have not happened, but it's mine and it's only mine. And all I ever want is the best for myself, my family, and all of evolution. So when we look into these deep thoughts and these deep ways of healing, the healing that comes from inside, we're able to move forward. The taste of the food becomes different. She said that to me. She says, her way of thinking, her way of overall moving forward when she woke up this morning was extremely different because we talked for 2 different days, for yesterday and today. She says the birds sound much different this morning. She noticed a lizard that would come to her door, and he's been coming to her door for a while now. And I told her, I said, anything, and I always tell you guys, whenever you have a animal or an event that continues to happen over and over again, Google it, see what it says. So I Googled lizard, the meaning of a spirit animal or a lizard that comes to you or whatever, right? So we Google lizard, and the lizard represents, he's here. He's a guidance to tell her it's time to make that shift, to take those steps, to move forward in her life. It's time. So when we get the messages around us from whatever animal, like, okay, I don't know if I told you guys, but like I always have crows outside my house. Always have crows. So the crows come and they hang out, and you hear them laugh, and you hear them talk, and you hear them, with their babies and, their little birdies and all this other stuff. And you hear them giving the other birds shit outside, they just taunting, whatever it may be. Well, the crows have gone. And now we have doves everywhere outside. It's so weird, the shift. I'm not saying that crows are bad, but what I'm saying is that when the doves have come, that's a sign from heavenly, that's like universal. It's beautiful energies. And when I looked at that, and my dad tells me, he goes, you know that we have like a nest back there. Like they've began to nest in the backyard, and they have their babies. It's a lovely energy. It's a sign of peace and solidarity, of unconditional love. It's a sign of good things to come. When we look at the energy of the world around us, of the animals, the trees, the grass, the sound in the wind, they all speak. Everything has a meaning. Some people say, nah, so what? The cat crossed the street. Some people look at it, oh, the black cat crossed the street. See? Some people look at things like, whatever. But when we stop and realize there are signs, your life is forever changed. The lizard to her is no longer just the lizard. The lizard to her is a friend. Somebody who has got her back to tell her, hey, you know what? I see you. It may just be a lizard to some people, but it may be a guide. Somebody who has ignited that fire with the message she so desperately needed. We all search for messages. We all search for a kind word, the unconditional love, the understanding from people around us that we may spend all day with every day. But we never get that message. We never receive that ignition, that fire. And then the day comes where a lizard shows up at your back door day after day after day. And the fire is ignited. I laugh because the lizard story, or the lizard, really gets to me because something so simple carries such a deep, divine message of how to come back to self. It's time. How many people have come to us and told us a message? A human being, a person such as myself or anybody else comes to you and tries to give you advice, and you're like, whatever. And the innocence of a creature, a dog, a bird, a lizard, comes in right away. We hear things we couldn't hear from a person we spend every day with, or a family member, that we seek guidance for, or somebody that we want to just talk our stuff out to. And sometimes all we do is we talk. We don't actually wait to hear the response, of the guidance. We just want to blah. And the moment we speak, we just turn them out because we're like, no, I don't want your advice. I just want you to listen. Yeah, see, absolutely. Yeah. Monique, hi, Mia. Hi, Ricky. Yeah. Barbara sent you Zeke, your dog. Absolutely. Absolutely. Barbara does a lot of funny things. Barbara's pretty funny. Barbara's pretty, she's got that imagination. Barbara likes to talk in music too. I know there's certain songs, that country song, Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Barbara likes to listen to music. I don't know. Jason Aldean, that's her thing. I don't know why. She's just like, Jason Aldean, Thea, that's my thing. Yeah. What is that song? The train song I hear now. I don't know. The one song about the train. I can't remember. That was a good one. Yeah, she's very funny. Barbara's very funny. Your dad comes through too. Well, Rick, he comes through. Butch comes through a lot of the times too. He just sits there and yeah, Midnight Train. That's a song. That's the song she's playing right now. When Spirit speaks a lot of times. Spirit speaks at moments where we need them the most, but a lot of the times we don't hear them or we don't receive the message because we're so set in our everyday life, and it's not of any fault. Life catches us. We have children, we have jobs, we have responsibilities, we have things that we have to do. But come June, July, the shift will be made and people will be more softer. They'll hear the things, the wind chimes sound different. It's a tune, it's not just a chime, if that makes sense. It becomes one of those things where we're able to understand the animals much better. There's a thing that your dog does, that Zeke does, is he smiles, he goes like this, and that's Barbara that's there playing with him too, Monique. Yeah, she's funny. She likes to play with the dog. She's throwing a ball. Does it look like sometimes he's looking for a ball? Because I see him, he's looking back and forth for a ball. She's throwing a ball to him. I don't know. She's just being funny. So, anyways, the thing that I endure, that I love the most about people is their endurance. They're wanting to move forward. They're wanting to find the answers, the hunger, the thriving that people do, the energy that they put out. It's an energy of knowledge. It's an energy of wisdom, whether they know the answers or not. The answers will come. And sometimes the answers are so close to us, they're right in front of us that we haven't seen them. Yeah, he's always looking around. Yeah, because she's there. Barbara goes there a lot of times. I see her, she's sitting on this side of the couch, on the right side of the couch. So it's kind of like this. It's closest to the door and there's a window there. She sits there and you must hear humming all the time. She says, yeah, you know what? I don't know why, but I'm humming. There's also the sun, where the sun goes in. Sometimes you might be able to see a little bit of a sparkle, a little bit of her, not a shadow, but it's something more of an outline of her aura in death, her spiritual, um, because her children are there. So she's there. She tucks them in at night. She says she also does many things. Like in the morning, she likes to cook them breakfast. In her mind, she's having breakfast with them. Not in her mind, but like in my mind, she's showing me that there's a activity of breakfast, making their beds, making their beds. In the adventures that she's had in her short lifetime, she says it was a life well lived. She's like, but you know what? It is what it is, Thea. She's funny. She has done so many more things in her afterlife than she has, that most people will not understand. She has reached out to many people. She's offering guidance, and it's a lovely energy. Yeah, she says, oh, breakfast. She's like, ooh, orange juice, no vodka. Yeah, absolutely. So that's good stuff. So, anyways, so come July, I know my grandmother, I'm saying June because that's when people are going to start like waking up. It's kind of like the Cabbage Patch doll coming out of the lettuce leaf, just waking up and opening up. It's almost like a rebirth of the life that people used to have is no longer valid. It's like people will start not remembering the old because there's so much being released that a lot of that energy that's coming through in July is going to be something that is, oh, that's all I can hear is just see white light, not white lights, but like the golden lights just go into the sky and people like, like they get it. It's an energy of moving out of our comfort zones more than anybody else ever would. It's more than just looking outside the box. It's stepping outside of the box, not looking back at the box. When people go through things in their lives and they want more, a lot of us have been stagnant for the last, probably I would say 3 years. This is before COVID. People knew they wanted more with their lives. People knew. I think in a way they sensed something was coming. I think a lot of people knew that there was energies around them that were going to keep them small a little bit longer. But now the awakening is happening. The energies that come around us or come around you, they're able to fill us with the joy. And it's able to stay. It's not something to where it's short-lived, where the energy is something we can no longer wish for. And, people like, meaning people, we pray at night, please, please, Lord, do this, do that, do this, and that. We're able to create that ourselves because we believe in ourselves more. And I think a lot of it too comes from the trust that we have, the survival skills we had throughout the last year, being able to come back to self. In the silence, we found who we are on the inside. A lot of inner work has happened. A lot of people want change. A lot of people want to look into other directions rather than relying and depending on somebody or some other outside sources to make ourselves more whole again by being more satisfied with what we have. Okay, I'm good. I'm healthy. We recognize that. We have fallen in love with ourselves unconditionally. We have found a way to forgive ourselves much that had nothing to do with us. We carried shit that didn't belong to us and we're like, no more. We have found our power. We have found the things that pivot us forward in our lives, in our thinking, in our financial ways. We found unconditional love for ourselves. Yeah, sometimes we go back, we fall into that little trap again, but it's much easier to get back out. We have less expectations from other people, and we stand in our truth. It's an energy that is absolutely meant. It's the way it should have always been, and we're finding our way back to that. Absolutely. Agree. My life was working double shifts to pay the bills. Rush. COVID forced to slow down. I would never done. No, absolutely, Lisa. Absolutely, Monique. Absolutely. a lot of us have come to the conclusion, we're in the realization that, you know what, the harder I work, the more tired I have become, the less I have loved myself, the less I have um, found my inner strength on times where I was completely depleted. And when I was done with myself, like working, I've been working a lot, right, Lisa? I mean, everybody knows I've been working a lot. I've cut down on my working hours because this is what I enjoy. It was taking this time away from you, from my viewers, from this is my life. This is my life purpose. This is my journey. Yeah, the money's good. Absolutely. But the more money I had, the more bills I created, right? The more that I had to be grateful for, the more that I was finding myself in more debt. You can have certain things in your life. Wants and needs are two different things. My little sermon of wants and needs. Yeah, we need food. We need nourishment. We need, our jobs to sustain ourselves. But what we want, do we really need it? Working, good morning, Rhonda. Working so hard all the time was just depleting the energy that I wouldn't want to push on anybody else. You get grumpy, you get crabby, you know what I mean? That energy of not being able, you're giving that energy out that you don't have that energy to give. My grandmother says that a long time ago, in her time, she had it much easier. She would go to work and she would come home, and the energies that they had around, she was grateful. Of course, it was a much slower life. It was not like the way it is now. They had the way of living was much, they didn't have a lot, not like we have now. Cell phones, washing machines. She says she gets her kick. You guys have washing machines. We didn't have that. Those certain things that you have, the things we have now, they never had back then. Life was much simpler. I think, my grandmother, when she says these things, she says that we have to really take into consideration how lucky we are, how blessed we truly are. And a lot of people have forgotten that. And I understand when she says those things, because sometimes we're like, I just want bigger and better. What is that, keeping up with the Joneses, that kind of thing? That nonsense. That's all ego based, kind of, that gets you nowhere, because what happens, everything breaks down, right? Everything needs to be replaced. Simple thoughts, simple minds. I'm one of those. I'm like, hey, if it works, you know what, we're good. That's kind of like my grandmother's like, oh, it's got 100 more miles, 1,000, like the washer, that kind of thing. People get into these where it's a competition of who has the best stuff, those kind of things. And I just like to run my race simple, gentle. And I'm thinking when July comes, do we remain the same when we have full freedom? Do we forget the lessons that we've learned during 2020? I always use the example, which is kind of me. I don't like to, but they say that when 9/11 happened, that unfortunate, horrible, horrible incident, when 9/11 happened, the world became a place that stopped. The world completely stopped, and people cried together, complete strangers. They cried together. The world became a peaceful place, because we could not believe such horrible could come to such a place of freedom. And the thing that I always look at is that in that moment of time, there was no color, there was no race, everybody was equal. We all loved differently. We forgave much quicker. And the farther away we got from that 9/11 date, people went back to normal, their usual. How soon they forgot the tragedy of and what brought the world together in peace. And sometimes I think that I don't know why things like that happen, horrible things like that happen. It shakes us to our core. We forget at times how vulnerable, how fragile we all truly are. I'm not saying we all need to live a life in fear-based energies to keep ourselves closer and loving each other closer and no judgment and unconditional love throughout the world. That should be a given. We shouldn't need a trigger to allow me to love any of you unconditionally. People say this thing all the time. Oh, respect is earned. Why wouldn't I give you respect from the very beginning? Why would I not give you respect? You've never done anything to me. You've never shown me anything less than being a good, loving human being. Why wouldn't I want to give you respect from the gate? Why would I not want to? People, I understand, come into friendships, work relationships. We come into this, and right away we have our guard up. And this is one thing I've always been. I've always been this way with everybody. People are like, "You're always just so nice." Well, why wouldn't I be? Why would I be on guard with certain people? I mean, I can tell because energy doesn't lie. Now I'm much keener, but why wouldn't I give somebody the benefit of the doubt from the beginning, whether I know them or not? Why would I want to just shut somebody down that might desperately need something, a kind word, something different in their life? Everyone has triggers. I don't care what anybody says. We all have triggers. The person that walks into the room and we're like, "Holy shit, what are you doing here?" That kind of thing. That was, hey, I'll own it. I'll own it. There's some people, they just kind of come in. I'm like, "Oh God, what now?" You know, because I know I have to set myself up to be like, okay, I can't be a part of that. It's all drama. I can't, you know what I mean? There's just some people, they come in the door and they got their baggage with them with drama, and they just have to for everybody. Yeah, we all have to protect ourselves from that. You could be having the best day of your life, and that all it takes is one person to come in, and it shifts the entire energy of the room. So what do? You send them the love. You send them that unconditional love. You send them healing. You ask your spirit guides, or you ask the universe, whoever, oh God. How many people say that? Oh geez, I'm going to pray. Oh God, I'm going to help me. I'm going to pray for this person to help them find their way, to help to release the burdens from their minds, or to lessen their load, right? I mean, a tragedy or an unfortunate event happens in somebody's family, an illness or something. Please send prayers. We gather, we give love, we send prayer, we send just those kind of energies. What I'm trying to say is that we should not have to wait for an event, a tragedy, something that is out of our control. We should always be in the existence of unconditional love, to always tell, I this is just me. This is me. Everywhere I go, I see a face, and I can see the burden that they carry, the sadness behind their eyes. I always ask Nana, please, Nana, help them. And a lot of the times, because there's non-interference in the spiritual world, one of the spiritual laws, I ask my grandmother, and this is Debbie Duncan right here too, Nana, speak with their spirit guides. Speak with the angels. Ask them to come in and help them, to guide them, assist them in any way that they need. I'm not interfering, but I'm also sending them love. I'm also sending them acceptance, forgiveness if they need forgiveness. Whatever they need, I send that. Because in those energies, you're helping them to release. And this is what I'm saying. We don't need some tragedy. We don't need some God-forsaken, some horrible event for us to feel the unconditional love for our friends, our neighbors, for people in our past, for all those. Forgive. And we don't need any of these things to bring us closer together. We should feel this way all the time. I know we step out of our comfort zone and we dabble in trying to fix this and fix that, whether it's with ourselves or with people around us. But when we come back to ourselves and we're able to stand in our truth and be okay with who we are, and be in the condition of, or in the bubble, I could say, of love, unconditional love, and feeling of nurturing, and all those lovely emotions, those high vibrational energies. It's like always being high. It's hard to describe. It's like always like it's not like, how people, oh, you have your head in the clouds. Yeah, I love when my head is in the clouds. Because it's a higher way of thinking. There's no longer seeing the bad things. It's always about seeing the potential and the goodness and all of that heavenly stuff that just is always meant to be. It's always meant to be. It's our birthright. It's who we are. So when we look back at all the things that we've learned and had to unlearn over the last couple years, or especially last year, how do we move forward? How do we get into the zone again about, what? How do we stay in that zone, for that matter? How do we stay in that gung-ho? How do we continue to push forward? Remember that sometimes, things don't work out, so we try a different way. What's not meant for you may fall away, but what's meant for you will always be. The blessings that are meant for you will always come to you. You will not be robbed of any of it. You will not be cheated. You will not be lied out of it. What's meant for you will always come. This is something that I firmly believe in, because I'm here. I'm doing this. What's meant for me will always come. Whether it's this show, another show, 3 guests, 20 guests, 50 guests, viewers down the road. These videos and these messages are timeless. People find a video. I find videos that were put on YouTube 5 years ago. I find them and I look at them and I watch them and I'm like, holy crap, they were way ahead of their time. And they were posted 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it might have been. When the message is meant for you, it will find you. Trust me. Whatever is meant to be for you, it will be. A lot of you are going to step into your power come June, even the ones that aren't watching right now. For those of you that are watching this video later on down the road, Your time is here. Your time is coming. Enjoy. Always walk and speak in your truth. Love yourself unconditionally. I do certain things for certain people that I normally would have never thought I would do before. I reach out to them. I understand them. I give them the moment. I give them the time. I give them the nod. I give them the certain things that I normally wouldn't have give them, and that would be my time. Time is something that was super, super precious to me, and it still is, because time spent properly is time that is earned and done, like, in the future. It pays off. Like, you sow your oats, that kind of, not sow your oats, wait, hold on, what? The plants, the seeds that you plant today, they'll grow into nurturing, loving, understanding, and all the things that you plant. You water it, you nourish it, you love it, you talk to it, all those things. Those things we have to do for ourselves every day. And then it trickles out to the people around us, our coworkers. Yeah, even the difficult ones. I'm grateful for you that you came in today. You bring such knowledge to the table in certain things that I am not so, savvy with. I'm grateful for you. And that changes people. It changes, it shifts their energy. It doesn't make them so bitter. I'm grateful for you all that come to the show to listen to the words, whether it triggers you into your next life purpose, or your the next thing that starts you. It revs your engine. It gets you pumped up for your day. It helps you to make a decision. A friend of mine was telling me, she was watching one of the shows and she had so many questions going through her head. And the more that I spoke, each one of her questions were answered. The messages that she was thinking about so deeply were received by me, and the words just naturally flowed out. So she sends me a message later on. She goes, you know what? I wanted to ask you so much, but just by listening to you, you answered each and every one of my questions without me having to ask. And that is the business of being what I do. We find the words of inspiration from certain people at certain times, and we allow them to become a part of us. We breathe in the energy of the words. We listen to the softness, and we allow it to seep into our brains, and we take action. It's a lovely energy. Simple, but lovely. Amory, you're going to be okay. Amory, there's a shakeup in your situation, and that's natural because things are changing, things are shifting. Speak your truth. Send your love and speak your love. It's time to sit down and come up with a new game plan. But do not be so short-tempered. Allow the shakeup to happen. It's like reorganizing your kitchen. It's like moving things from one area to the next in order to bring in the flow more naturally. Sit down with your husband and speak with him, understanding that this is something that will take you to a higher level of doing things, of moving you forward, the business, Speak softly. It will happen. Let it happen. Ask your dad to come in, ask your grandmother to come in, and let it happen. Let them speak, let them guide you, and this person will step away. I just wanted to tell you guys I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Julie. I want to thank each and every one of you. Lisa, you guys are all the best. Yeah. You're going to be fine, Amory. Bring it down. Bring it down. I know it seems really crazy right now, I'm sure. But just listen. Just don't do anything rash. Just listen. Okay? I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. It's such a beautiful day outside. It's probably going to be stinking hot again. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for coming and enjoying the show with me. It's been such a wonderful day. Thank you, Lisa. You guys are all the best. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I'll see you guys here Monday. I'll be back with Debbie and Monday at 6:30 p.m. So you guys take care, and I'll see you guys next time.